Hello, my beautiful, beautiful bookish besties. I hope you guys all had a great reading month in February. I read 17 books in the month of love. I read some romances. Obviously, you had to read some romances in February. Some fantasies, some thrillers, and most importantly, I have a new 6-star read to obsess over forever and ever and ever. I'm so excited to talk about it with you all. The book's actually on the slide, so make a guess as to what book it is and see if you're right. You'll find out soon enough. Let's get into it. The first book I read in the month of love was The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which isn't very lovey-dovey at all. I like how the slide is all pink and fluffy and cute with hearts everywhere, and I'm about to talk about a book involving a woman accused of brutally murdering her entire family. Funny how that works. Oh, and also, I am introducing something new. The 2-sentence summary that you see up there, I was going to shoot for one sentence, but it was hard to say everything that needed to be said in one sentence, so we're going to go with 2 on this one. I'm going to start doing this because I'm really bad at describing books, as you have probably noticed if this isn't your first time here. I feel like I just ramble, and the summary is more confusing than helpful most of the time, so I'm doing this now. It'll be brief so we can cut out my rambling and cut to the important bits of the plot, and it's pre-planned so it'll make more sense, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping. And then, of course, we have the other bookish details that are always there in the little table I added. Okay, so The Only One Left is about caregiver Kit, who is tasked with caring for Lenora Hope, who was accused of brutally murdering her family many years ago. Kit investigates the decades-old murder allegations while residing in the precarious Hope's End, unraveling chilling secrets about the past. Wow, did I have the source out while I wrote this? I can't believe I just used the word precarious. I'm trying so hard. That was such a try-hard word to use. But anyway, I loved this. I gave 5 stars. It was very fast-paced with short chapters. I flew through it. It was really addicting. The mystery element was really well done. Even when I wasn't reading this, I was thinking about the mystery and who could have done it and why. I almost looked up spoilers because I was dying to know. And with school, I couldn't just sit and binge it all day, unfortunately. I didn't though. I withheld. And I'm so glad I did because the plot twists had my jaw on the floor. It was so shocking. And it wasn't just one twist either. There were so many jaw-dropping twists. I highly recommend this if you want a twisty, unpredictable thriller. This is a great one. And then I read an actual romance because, as you know, the month of love, I obviously had to read a whole bunch of romances. So I read The Rescue by Nicholas Sparks. This is about a single mother named Denise who gets into a car accident that renders her unconscious, and when she wakes up, she realizes her son is not in the car with her anymore. The romance is between her and the firefighter Taylor, who helps her find her missing son. I did not like this. I gave it 3 stars. I'm sorry. The beginning was good. I liked all the angst and drama surrounding the missing boy, but after that was resolved, it was kind of bland. I didn't like the romance. It was doing nothing for me. I was so bored. Mostly by Taylor. He had no personality. He bored me for the first 70% of the novel, and then he just started pissing me off after that with how he was treating Denise. I did like Denise, though. I liked how committed she is to the people in her life, and I liked her relationship with her son. That was definitely the highlight of this book, was the relationship between her and her son Kyle. Everything else just fell flat for me, unfortunately. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert, which, true to the title, is unfairly cute. It is adorable to say why a rom-com that follows 2 ex-best friends, Bradley and Celine, as they fight for a full-ride scholarship. In order to obtain the scholarship, they are forced to work together in the wilderness. This is a friends to enemies to friends to lovers book, I would say. The characters in this are all so adorable. I love them all so much. I feel like every Talia Hibbert book just brings me so much joy because they're also wholesome and precious and cute. If you want something light and fun and funny, this is the one. Talia Hibbert, I would say, is the funniest rom-com author. In my personal experience, that's what I would say. I was actually laughing out loud multiple times, and her writing style is so unique. I don't know how to describe it. You have to read it for yourself to really know what I mean, but I've never read from an author that writes like she does. It's like overdramatic and funny and filled with italics and capitalizations, and I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's brilliant. Trust me on that. I gave it 5 stars because reading it gave me so much joy. It made me so unbelievably happy and giggly, and it was a great time. 5 stars. And then I read Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This follows Princess Bridget, who initially cannot stand her new grumpy, domineering bodyguard who gives off major I hate everyone but you vibes, by the way. But as the years go on, they both start to develop feelings for each other. Unfortunately, they cannot be together because of the royal marriage laws. Yeah, so this is Grumpy Sunshine, Forbidden Love, Dislike to Love. I love this one. I love Reese. He is broody, and broody men who get progressively more lovey-dovey as the story progresses will always be my favorite thing. It just does something for me. And Reese flashing his gun at all her dates. I love a jealous man. I loved all those scenes. And don't even get me started on Spice, because it was so good. So much better than it was in Twisted Love. And there was also really good plot twists in this that I didn't see coming at all, because I'm a naive, clueless little girl. The only thing I didn't like was the amount of times Bridget would call Reese Mr. Larson. It read as so formal and awkward to me. I don't know, I just didn't like that. But that was the only thing. I loved everything else about this. And then I read Legends Lattes by Travis Baldree. I don't know why I thought reading this would be a good idea. I don't even like coffee. But I read this, and this is about an orc named Viv who is opening up a coffee shop in the fantastical city of Thune, which has never had a coffee shop before. The romance is between her and her employee Tandri. This is a cozy fantasy and a sapphic romance mashed into one. It sounded cute in theory, I guess, but I was really bored while reading this. I didn't care about anything that was happening. The plot wasn't engaging at all, and overall I just felt indifferent towards everything and everyone. I don't think it was a bad book, though. I can see how it would work for some people. I definitely see why people like it and find it comforting. Those people are just not me, so 3 stars. Next up, Love Story by Lauren Lane. This is told in dual timelines. It follows 2 former childhood sweethearts who are forced to confront their past while reluctantly road tripping together to California. Despite their mutual animosity stemming from their painful falling out, sparks fly and unresolved feelings are brought to the surface. I should have loved this one. It has everything I love in a romance. It has enemies, lovers, second chance, road tripping. I love all those things, especially when they're put together into one book, so I should have loved this. But I did not. In fact, I kind of hated it. I gave it 1 star, and most of that can be attributed to the hero. He was so hard to root for. The things he did, and the things he put her through, and the way he treats her, I am not a fan. In the beginning, I didn't mind the rudeness because I thought she did something in their teenage years to warrant it, but I got to the end, and that was not the case at all. He was the villain in the situation 100%, and I hate how he tried to turn it around and blame her, and I hate that she apologized more than he did for what went down back then, because it was all his fault. She did nothing wrong, literally nothing, and usually with enemies lovers books, you get the good, fun, witty banter. The back and forth dialogue in this, though, was not fun. It was actually so annoying because they would constantly argue, and not in a fun, entertaining way. It was in an annoying, insufferable way, and they just went in circles in their conversations. I feel like they are horrible communicators, and it made for awful dialogue. They had so many issues to work through, and they weren't doing that in a healthy way. They were just fighting and insulting and going in circles. They would fight about literally everything. It was ridiculous. She bought him M&Ms at one point because it's his favorite candy, and he picked a fight with her over that. Like, what are you complaining about? She literally just did something nice and thoughtful for you. What is the problem? It was so irritating. Once again, I blame Reese because Lucy would at least try to communicate. She would ask him how he felt and to open up to her, and he just shut her down every time because he's a man and men don't talk about their feelings. I hate that excuse, and I don't accept it. I will never accept it. So didn't like that. And I also couldn't connect with either of the characters. I didn't dislike Lucy, but I couldn't connect with her at all. They didn't have much depth. There was nothing to really latch onto there. There was one cute scene in the epilogue, and that was it. So 1 star. Then I read House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. No, it's Maas. Every time I say her name, I want to elongate the A, because that's just, it looks like it would be Maas, but I think it's Maas. That's how the other people say it. Okay, Sarah J. Maas. I read this. This is about a girl named Bryce. Bryce's friends are brutally murdered, and the wrong person is convicted of the crime, and then she is then forced to work with Hunt Athalar, who is a slave, to find out who done it. This is very much a slow burn, and I loved it. The romance was really well done, in my opinion. The way they went from reluctant allies to friends to confidants to lovers was brilliantly done. And I love how for years Hunt's only pictures on his phone were of crime scene evidence. He didn't take pictures of anything else, but after meeting Bryce, he started filling his camera roll with pictures of her. That was so wholesome. That was one of my favorite parts, honestly. That was so cute. And I also like how we slowly learned more about the characters as we read on. Unlike the main characters in Love Story, these characters had depth, and there was a lot to uncover about them and their motivations and their past and stuff like that. They were fully fleshed out, and they were easy to root for. I also really liked the plot. I liked the mystery. I felt that it was all very engaging. I like that so many of the first few pages and chapters of this book were dedicated to Danica and the Pack, because then when they were murdered, I actually cared. I was so invested in finding out who did it because I grew to adore those characters in those pages. They weren't just random people that died, you know? And the banter was great. I really like Rune also. I don't know why, but I really like him. And I did as soon as he was introduced. He's Bryce's brother, by the way, and I adore him. I don't know why. I can't put it into words, but I really like. He just does it for me. I don't know. And oh my goodness, the ending, incredible, action-packed, angsty, well-written, on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was so crazy and so good. The only critique I have for this book is that the word alcohol was used so many times. It bothered me the first time it was used a little bit because it's so cringy and I just don't like the word. But then it was used again and again and again. I could have done without that, but it's such a small thing. Like, I'm not gonna dock the writing over that because the story was so good. The characters were great. Really, really good. That's the only thing I dislike. For this one, time to tell you guys about one of the best books I've ever read. I read Powerless by Lauren Roberts this month. This follows Peyton, who is an ordinary masquerading as an elite to survive in a world where her kind are hunted. She finds herself entangled in the deadly trials where elites are pitted against each other, all while concealing her true identity. Elites are people with powers and ordinaries are people without powers. And the romance is a slow burn between her and Kai, who is the prince and enforcer, and the enforcer's job is to hunt and kill ordinaries. This is the best fantasy romance I have ever read. I will never doubt Sarah Crowley again. Not that I ever doubted her, but still, I read this book because it was her top book of 2023, and even with that, I didn't expect it to be this good. But it was actually so amazing. It was so good. I'm definitely see why so many people gave us 5 stars. I gave 5 stars. 6 stars, in fact. This was incredible. The writing is gorgeous. There are so many beautiful quotes in here. It's crazy that this is a debut novel. I can't wait to see how her writing improves from here on out because this is already so good. So beautiful. The banter is top tier. So witty. So fun. And the hero. Oh my goodness. I am in love with Kai. The flirty things that came out of his mouth had me blushing and squealing and kicking my feet. He's everything to me. And the romance was great. It is a slow burn, like I said, and the tension between Peyton and Kai, oh my gosh, I can't. It's so good. I forced my sister to read this book and she doesn't even like fantasy, but she rated this 5 stars. I think that should speak to how good it is that it can get a 5-star rating from someone who doesn't even like the genre. To me, this is above 5 stars. It is a 6-star and I will take no critiques. Then I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett because this book has been blowing up lately and I wanted to get in on the love with you guys. I want to love it as much as you guys did. Unfortunately, I did not. I'm sorry. This is set in the early 1900s. The story is told through Professor Emily Wilde's journal where she meticulously documents her research and encounters with fairy beings as Emily travels to the small town of Raffensvik, that's how I pronounced it. To delve deeper into her studies, she finds herself constantly bickering with fellow academic Wendell. This book took me almost 2 weeks to read. Even though it's relatively short, it's only 325 pages, because I was just so bored throughout most of this novel. I thought about DNFing multiple times, but I just kept pushing through because I was like, everyone loves this. I'm gonna love it too, but I just did not. I'm sorry. The only scenes I liked were the ones with Wendell. He was the saving grace of this book for me. He's adorably charming and funny. If we got more of him, this might have been a 4-star read. I liked the bickering between him and Emily. I thought that was fun. Oh, and I also like the wholesome scenes between Emily and the townsfolk near the end of this book. That was really cute. Other than that, though, I did not have a good time with this. It felt really slow and tedious. There was really detailed descriptions of things that just did not matter, at least not to me, and that started to grate on my nerves very quickly. I don't want to waste my time reading something that doesn't matter, you know? So it's just kind of annoying. I gave it 3 stars, and you can all thank Wendell for that because he is the reason. If he didn't exist, 2 stars probably. Yet another book that I really wanted to love, but I just didn't. I read The Teacher by Freida McFadden. This is told through dual timelines. Addie struggles with bullying and the aftermath of rumors about her past relationship with the teacher, while Eve grapples with marital issues and her husband's waning interest. As their stories and lives become more intertwined, secrets are revealed and relationships are tested. I was so excited for this book. This was one of my most anticipated thrillers of the year because I love Freida McFadden's writing, which is why I'm so sad to say that I didn't like it. This one was a miss for me. There was a few reasons why this didn't work for me. Firstly, I found all the characters to be insufferable. There was not a single character that I truly liked and cared for, and these characters were not unlikable in a fun to hate kind of way. If they were, I wouldn't have minded, but they were not like that. They were just annoying or completely terrible people. I just couldn't root for anyone. I could not enjoy my reading experience when I had to listen to their thoughts and read about their stupid actions. I couldn't. And some of the characters were meant to be unlikable, I get that, but to not have one likable character, like, come on, give me something to work with, at least one person to root for. There was nothing. I also did not like where the story went. The main storyline made me so uncomfortable, and again, that was the point. It's stories like this are meant to be unsettling and uncomfortable, but I could have done without all the details. I felt sick to my stomach during most of this book. It was gross, but This is more of a me issue than a book issue. Just because I struggled with the content matter does not necessarily mean that you will, but definitely check trigger warnings before going into this because it's gross. And another thing, there were a lot of mini storylines in this that were mentioned a bunch, and then they went absolutely nowhere. I just don't get what the point of any of that was. Like, why was that included in the final draft? What was the point? Like, Mr. Tuttle, that's the guy Addie was accused of having an affair with. That literally went nowhere. There was no reason for his character or that storyline to exist. I don't get what the point of it was, besides some, like, foreshadowing. But what else, though? Like, he did not need to be there. And the plot twist didn't get me either. There was one that I didn't predict, everything else I predicted, so I felt underwhelmed by the ending. Almost nothing about this worked for me besides the writing. I really like Peter McFadden's writing still. It's very easy to read. It does not feel like a 400-page book. You fly through it. Overall, 3 stars. It was not a book for me, but most of my issues with it were personal and not a reflection of the book itself, really, so I feel like this is a fair rating. I can't give it a higher rating because I didn't like it, but I can't give it a lower rating because I recognize that the issue lies more with me and my personal triggers than it does with the book itself, so 3 stars. Right after that, I read The Mystery Guest because I wanted to read a good thriller. So I read The Mystery Guest. This is another new release. This story follows Molly, a maid at the Regency Hotel who becomes embroiled in a murder investigation when an author drops dead on the premises. Molly uses her keen observation skills to help solve the case, uncovering surprising secrets along the way. This is the second book in the Molly the Maid series. Both books can be read as standalone, though you don't have to read them in order. And this is also told in past and present timelines, by the way. I forgot to put that in the 2-sentence summary. But now you know. I thought this was really cute. This is the cutest murder mystery ever. It's a little slow and boring, but it can get away with it because the characters are so wholesome and adorable. I really like Molly and her whole support system. 4 stars. It's really cute. I could break down and cry right now just looking at this cover and remembering what happened in this book. I could stop. So I read Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. As you can see, oh my goodness, I'm literally about to cry. This was so tragic and devastating. I can't give you a summary because I would be spoiling what happened at the end of Six of Crows because this is part of a duology and this is the second book. It's part of the Six of Crows duology. But I guess I can give you some general details just so you're not in the dark if you haven't heard of this series. So Six of Crows follows 6 people, most of whom are criminals and gang members as they pull off this dangerous, high-stakes heist. That's all you need to know. It's just as exciting and amazing as it sounds. I love this so much. 5 stars. No doubt about it. I'm so attached to all the main characters. So unbelievably attached. There are 6 point of view chapters or characters, and I love all their chapters. There's no boring point of view character like there usually is with multiple point of view books. I'm so invested in all their stories and thoughts and personalities. I love them all so much. The found family theme in this is so heartwarming. Those last few chapters, though, they broke my heart wide open. The amount of times I had to get up to grab more tissues is crazy. I haven't cried that hard since I read the last Divergent book. If you know, you know. I don't even want to talk about it. The plot of this, really fun, really engaging. Basically everything about this book is good. I have no critiques. The romance is everything. There are 3 main couples in this series and they're all my everything. Nina and Matthias are my favorites, but all the ships are so well developed and swoony in their own way. I love them all so much. Please, 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 please read the series if you haven't yet. If any book is worthy of the crazy hype it gets, it is this and Emily Henry books. I know people are reluctant going into super hyped up books. They think they don't deserve it, but seriously, this duology deserves it so much. It's so good. I love it so much. And now we get to talk about a book I did not love. I read Nevermore Bookstore by Kerrigan Byron and Cynthia St. Aubin. This follows Katie, who runs a bookstore and gets weekly calls from a mysterious customer named Fox. They have both developed feelings for each other, but Fox refuses to have a relationship with her because of his dark and dangerous past. I really thought I would like this. It has everything I love. First of all, adorable cover. It's also Grumpy Sunshine and anonymous calling. I love anonymous texting or calling or writing letters, anything along those lines. I love I'm about to say a word that I know I'm going to mispronounce. I love the anonymity. Wait, did I say it right? Anonymity. Yes! I think I said it right the first time, and then I kept butchering it, but you guys know what I say. I love that part, and the falling for each other through words before falling for each other physically. I thought that would happen here because, hello, anonymous calling, you don't see each other, but that is not what happened in this book. Even though Katie couldn't see Fox, most of what she felt for him was lust. She was attracted to his deep voice more than who he was as a person and what he was actually saying. And Fox was just a creep. He spied on her with binoculars. He would watch her come out of the shower with binoculars and make comments about how her hardened nipples looked in her ultra-thin tank tops. It was actually so creepy and disgusting and weird. I hated being in his perspective. I wasn't expecting a stalker romance when I saw this cute, cozy cover, but that's what this was. It's also insta-love, insta-lust, whatever you want to call it. They already have feelings for each other by the time you start the book, which I didn't like because I want to watch them fall for each other and see what made them fall for each other in the first place. That's the whole point of a romance book, is to watch them fall for each other. Okay, as I said that, I looked up at my bookshelf and Kiss the Sky is right there, and that's my favorite romance book ever. And that features a couple that is already together when their book begins, but the difference with that one is we saw them fall for each other through Lily and Lo's perspectives in the first 3 books in the series, and the authors did a good job of making the readers understand why they love each other so much. Nevermore Bookstore is the first one. I can't speak. Words are not wording. Nevermore Bookstore is the first in the series, so we're not getting all that information. And a lot of the attraction to each other just seemed to be lust. I feel like I kind of understand what they liked about each other as people, but not enough. I know what they liked about each other physically, that's for sure. This book just felt too physical to me. Even the jokes were almost all sex-based or vulgar, and I'm not a person who is uncomfortable by sex jokes or vulgarity or anything like that. I just didn't like that this whole book was sex and lust, and all the characters think about is sex. I wanted a deeper emotional connection, and also the angst in this book felt so forced. I love angst, but the reason they quote-unquote can't be together in this is so silly. There was no real reason why they couldn't be together. I wanted actual angst, not whatever this was. They were just being overdramatic. I really didn't like this, as you can tell. I was tempted to give it a 1-star rating, but I bumped it up 1 because of the plus-size representation, which the cover doesn't really represent, but it is in the actual book. And I also like the mental health representation, and there's a big bookish presence with this taking place at a bookstore, and lots of talk of popular books like The Song of Achilles. I thought that was fun. But that was it, though. I would not recommend this. When I read Final Girls by Riley Sager, I've completed his entire backlist now, so you're probably going to get a video of me ranking all his books. Or maybe I'll wait until his new release comes out to do that, and then I can get them all with that one included. I don't know yet. I will think about it, but I am going to rank all his books eventually. So this one follows Quincy, who was the sole survivor, final girl, of a killing spree that left all her closest friends murdered. When another final girl takes her own life, wink wink nudge nudge, Sam, a third final girl, reaches out to Quincy. I realized that was a very broad summary, and that is intentional. I didn't want to give too much away, so that's all you're getting. I didn't love this one. The characters made really stupid decisions. I couldn't connect with them. The pacing was pretty slow in the present timeline. I forgot to mention that in this 2-sound summary again, but this is told in past and present timelines, and I like the past timeline where you're leading up to the massacre, but I did not care about the present timeline at all. It was only exciting at the very end when you find out who the killer is. Everything else fell flat for me. Also, it was easy to guess who the killer was because there aren't too many characters, and some of them were very obvious red herrings. Also, Quincy randomly becomes a vigilante at one point. What even was that? That was so weird. I don't know why that happened. That was just silly. Overall, I would recommend checking out one of his other books if you want a good mystery thriller. He's a talented writer. I just didn't like this story. Try Lock Every Door or The Only One Left by Him and skip this one. Finally read The Love Hypothesis. I am the last person on earth to read this. If you somehow don't know what this book is about, it's about Olive, a PhD student who is determined to show her best friend On that she no longer has feelings for the guy On likes. To achieve this, Olive kisses Adam, a professor at the university who's known for being grumpy and unapproachable, and convinces him to fake a relationship with her. This was really cute and funny. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It actually made me laugh out loud multiple times. So that's a good sign. I loved Adam. He's very sarcastic, and despite his reputation as this overly critical, unapproachable jerk, he's actually so sweet. He's my misunderstood baby. I adore him. And I liked his playful banter with Olive. They were so cute together. The reason I can't give this a full 5-star rating is because there were some things that annoyed me. There was an excessive amount of ellipses and dashes. We rarely went a page without seeing an ellipses or a dash. It was honestly distracting. Before I read the page, I would start counting them if I noticed there was a lot on one page. And there was also a lot of miscommunication. And just talk, just say what you're feeling so we can avoid all this. The lack of communication irritated me. I also feel like this book would have hit so much harder in dual point of view. I wanted Adam's point of view so badly. It was still really fun though. I really enjoyed my time with it. Just some things I would change. This is so underrated, and for what? Stop sleeping on this book. I read Good Grades and Mystery Games by Janisha Buswell this month. This is about Evan and Scarlett, 2 academic rivals from feuding families who find themselves drawn together when Scarlett's father falls into a suspicious coma. As suspicions of foul play arise, Evan is tasked by his father to get close to Scarlett to uncover the truth behind her father's condition. I love this. 5 freaking stars. 5 stars all the way. It was a little hard to get into at first, I will admit that. There is some filler in the beginning, but once you get past it, this is so good. I love Evan. I love him. One of my top book boyfriends now. He is so thoughtful. After he and Scarlett get together, she was his number one priority always, and I just love how committed he was to her and their relationship. He's so sweet. He's also emotional, and I like men who are emotionally intelligent and can show their emotions and talk about their feelings. I just love him so much. He's perfect. The way he would step up for her when something went wrong. Oh my goodness. He has everything. I cannot emphasize this enough. And his term of endearment for her is pretty girl. It's so cute. I did not realize how much I loved that term of endearment until he said it a bunch of times, and I was like giggling and blushing and kicking my feet like, it's adorable. That's so cute. There are so many cute scenes in this. I don't want to give specifics because you just read it and experience it for yourself, but just know they are there. And the tension and steamy scenes were also so good. They were the perfect mix between hot and cute. There's also positive therapy representation in this and realistic depictions of grief. No third act breakup. Highly recommend. But okay, I'm going to recommend this, but you should go into it knowing it's independently published, so there is the occasional spelling error. If you go into this knowing that, though, I don't think you'll have any issues. Just be prepared for those spelling errors. My final read of the month was Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This follows Santi, who has been struggling with depression and self-esteem issues since a racing accident resulted in the amputation of his leg. His family has been worried about him, and to prove that he is doing better, he enters a fake dating relationship with Chloe, who is trying to form a relationship with her long-lost father. I went into this with no expectations because the other books in the series were fine. You know, I liked The Rebels. I didn't really like Wrecked, but it wasn't terrible, so I expected that same it's fine feeling going into this one, but I was wrong. So wrong. This was incredible. I love Santi. He's so smitten with Chloe and it's adorable. And I love Chloe. I love their relationship. I love the teasing banter and playfulness. I love the emotional support they provided each other with. There was good mental health representation in this as well as disability representation. This book was everything I want in a romance novel. I'd highly recommend this. Even if you don't like the other books in this series, I would tell you to give this a chance. This one is definitely the best in my opinion. I'm so glad I ended the month with 2 5-star reads. I hope you guys had a good reading month too. Thank you for watching. Bye!